Lucky Lefty podcast. The Onora boys are in the building. We hope you had a great weekend. We're brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. If you drink, make sure that you do so.
Responsibly.
You have to do it responsibly. Also, left CFB Nation, presented by
Twisted
Twisted
Tea.
Tea.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's a good morning hymn now.
Good morning, man. Hey, left audio edibles each and every day. Apple Podcast, Spotify. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know.
We
We
spinning.
finish different. A lot to get to today, left. The show just changed literally like 10 minutes before the show. Like we had it all planned out, text all day yesterday, talking
That's right.
about strength and conditioning coaches, Marcus Freeman, Mike Brown, all of that.
That's right.
And the next thing you know, yo, say what? So you know what time it is. What's smoking? What's smoking? Ash and Geek. AlonzoJackson.com. We run the city. Gerard Parker, the next head coach at Troy.
Oh my God. Notre
See,
Dame
here we
is just
go
a
again,
blessing now.
dude. Here we go again. See, this is what I was talking about, left. See, this is that bull. This is
Yep.
that bull. Let me
That's
be
right.
nice. This is that bull. Another offensive coordinator brings in a guy that he has the vision for, and then bounces and leaves somebody else to have the vision for another transfer quarterback. See, this is that foolishness I'm talking about.
It's foolishness. It's foolishness. Because you can't take back the $2 million we probably paid Riley Leonard.
No,
And Gerard Parker really don't got no loyalty to Riley Leonard. And you know why they feel so free and they can just move willy nilly? It's because they don't respect Marcus Freeman. Gerard Parker's like, look, dude, you didn't hire me here, so I don't have no loyalty to stay here. I'm gonna take all the meetings, all the different things like trips I can take because I'm playing the field. Because at the end of the day, Gerard Parker had a great season last year to be a first year head coach of offense. Go in there and average the points that he did. There's something to be said for that. However, in terms of building a program, you know people are going to try to poach Notre Dame's coaches. You know that. Notre Dame has seemed to be a great jump off spot for a lot of guys to get their career jobs that they've been looking for. I just think it's kind of crazy that Gerard Parker, who wasn't on the top 3 list, in my opinion, or Marcus Freeman's short list until he had to be, now gets the opportunity to play the field. I just think can't be mad at a man for trying to elevate. But then again, Marcus Freeman got to bring in guys that he wants because I don't believe that they'll be ready to leave as fast as Gerard Parker.
so according to reports, your man Gerard Parker, the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame, is the top choice or has become the top choice in the coaching search for Troy. Now, I'm trying to figure out how this works, bro. Like you're the OC, you're pitching you're pitching Riley Leonard, you're pitching the wide receivers, and while you're pitching them, you're sneaking off to your office interviewing for Troy. Like, how's this work? Like, did Marcus Freeman know you were interviewing for gigs? Did he know you were open to interviewing for gigs? Like, if that's the case, why are you so involved with the portal? Hey, man. So is Gino Gaduli next up as OC like he was at Cincinnati? Look,
Disorganized.
And Troy, let's be honest, Troy has been a really solid program. So I don't want to disrespect Troy.
A running
Troy,
football team for
they're
sure.
a solid program, a nice jump start for someone that needs their first head coaching job. It has been a really nice stop for guys to take that next step. So I'm not mad, and I'm not knocking the hustle of Jared Parker. I'm not knocking the hustle at all. Matter of fact, that loud cheer you hear might be Notre Dame fans all across the nation.
I
Like,
mean, it
yo,
should be the way they talked about him.
man, the way they talked about him, Notre Dame fans are like ecstatic this morning. Like, but for me, once again, it is a portal quarterback coming in with a guy that pitched him with the plan and the vision. The best thing about this left is that Tommy left in February. He's leaving in December. And
Oh, he
do you,
already took the job.
dude, this is like,
Oh,
do you even
he's
do
like
you
he's
even
like
let this
going.
dude do you even let this dude coach the bowl game, left?
Oh, damn.
Let's think about this. Dude just had practice with CJ Carr Saturday.
Talking about he looks good.
Right. Hey, matter of fact, I forgot to say this in the open. I got LEVON WHITAKER joins us. And
Okay,
he
there we go.
joined us to talk about the press conference Saturday and Muffet McGraw getting her statue. Shout out to Muffet McGraw though. Real talk. That's an OG legend at Notre Dame. Well-deserved statue outside of Notre Dame Stadium and the Purcell Pavilion.
Shout
But
out to Rike as well, getting her that statue. Rike didn't hit
not
them
no,
back to
don't
back
just leave,
shots.
don't just
I'm just
not
saying.
just Enrique. I mean, it's a lot, Niele Ivy got her first championship
Yeah. Oh, Neil's
along with Ruth
statue is
Riley.
coming.
So
Two of Neil's statues should be coming soon. One
mhm.
playing, one coaching. Something different. That's spending it different right there.
Made a nice spinach, raspberry, blueberry with some, vanilla whey,
The spinach though in
some
there, get the
oats.
green.
Yeah, I put the spinach in there for the greens. Raspberry. It's pretty nice, dude. The vanilla whey. I'm trying to get on the smoothie kick to kind of supplement my breakfast because I'm terrible at breakfast, left. I never eat breakfast.
That's good. You're not supposed to.
I never eat breakfast. I'm always like 1 or 2 o'clock before I eat my first meal, and I
Yeah,
have
let your body do its thing, man. It's probably telling you don't need nothing this early.
no left. I gotta do better. I gotta get some vitamins in my body early.
Man, listen, your body produces certain minerals every couple of days. You get you a good sleep, some good water in the morning, you're gonna be straight. Maybe hit an apple or two. You like apples?
Yes, man. But
Big
they're too
apple
powerful.
fan.
See, apples are way too powerful when you mix them with other things. The apple taste
Mm,
dominates.
that's true.
It
Okay.
dominates. So I had last night, in the winter, I love tangerines in the winter. I do
Oh
regular
man, love
oranges
them.
in the summer. In the wintertime,
The little
tangerines.
cuties, the
Yes,
little
my wife bought a
y'all.
whole bunch of cute. Dude, my wife goes crazy when she knows my daughter's coming home. The grocery shopping list is like 3 times what it is when we're here.
Yeah, you like, wait a minute. We getting the Pop Tarts I used to like. Oh, what's going on
Right.
around
Like, she gets the red carpet treatment. You treat your boy like,
here?
man, you can go get whatever you want
Get
to.
you some oatmeal. They get you all the stuff that you need to have, but you don't want. I like the Funyuns and all that too. You know what I mean?
Oh, the Funyuns. My daughter loves the Funyuns with the Flame of Hot joint.
But see, you go that route, you might as well get the baked flaming hots.
So how
That's the
you
one.
feeling, Notre Dame fans? Are you happy? Just be honest. Jared Parker is about to take the job as head coach of Troy, according to reports. Someone said Pete Thamel said it's almost a done deal. Left. I mean, we had no idea. We came in prepared to, like I said, talk Mike Brown, talk Marcus Freeman, the press conference, and some of the things they talked about. And this news breaks, and it's like, yo, this is really crazy. This is really crazy.
Yeah, because it just exposes Marcus Freeman again to
How
what are you
so?
guys.
Oh, it exposes him to something.
Well, it exposes him back to what is the identity and and where is the control of the team at?
Mm.
because we talked about moving in two different directions. And this is another premium example of why. Marcus Freeman is pushing transfer as a win now approach, like going all in for a season, overhauling the entire offense, going in and I guess making a statement that we don't have enough to get done on the team. So whoever we're bringing in, we're looking to go undefeated and win a championship. So I told you guys that was a setup because this is a year, especially with the first year of the playoffs, where you can kind of feel it out.
Yeah.
You have the regular season and the quarterbacks in the room that's been there long enough that can win these games that we need to win. We don't necessarily need a Riley Leonard to play this schedule we have in the regular season.
So Pete Thamel just put a story up on ESPN, and he said Troy is set to hire Jared Parker. So it looks like it's if it's not a done deal, it is approaching the finish line, man.
And this is why I said that we should have got a walk on. Get a high powered walk on, help develop the scout teams, and then put a lot of focus on your guys that's been there. If we did it that way, Jared Parker leaving would be inconsequential. Now you got to answer to all these transfers you done paid all this money to, what the offense is going to look like.
You think he felt the pressure? Because there's a lot less pressure on Jared Parker at Troy than it would have been as the OC at Notre Dame this year with Riley Leonard.
Just like I said with Marcus Freeman, Jared Parker's whole thing was, man, you asking me to be a top tier offensive coordinator replacing my quarterback every year?
Yeah.
No chance. On top of not being able to run, I guess, his own version of his offense, I think the challenge and the type of pressure to win every week is that much more for a second year offensive coordinator at a place like Notre Dame. So now you have a lot of questions and no answers for these transfers you got coming in because we know that Riley Leonard is a project, not a finished one, but a half done project. So to bring in a whole new offense, whole new coordinator, it's just going to be interesting to see how it fits with the offense.
Hey man, let's bring in our boy, big time fam. I haven't seen him in a while. I missed him when we were up there for the Ohio State game. And yo, it's gonna be good to talk to him and bring him back on the show. Like you said, we had no idea that we're gonna be bringing him on today to talk about this. But with the current news, that's just something else to talk about with our brother, big time friend of the program from AB 757 News down in the Bend, none other than our guy, LEVON WHITAKER. He
Yes,
joins
sir.
us right here on Lucky Lefty Podcast. What's up, bro?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Hey, let me tell you something. I was seconds away from texting you on Saturday night, like, yo, we came down there and stole two from y'all, man. I was about to mess with you, and
That's
that
right.
cat Jimmy Buckets had to come back
Hey,
and
Get
get
that
us
game
at the
winner now.
buzzer.
hey, Jimmy Butler doing what he needed to do against Chicago really saved me. Really saved me because he was scaring me.
You guys, let me tell you something. I was talking to someone this weekend before we get into Notre Dame. I said, man, I don't care what's going on right now. The Miami Heat scared the hell out of me.
Really?
Dude, they scared it. First of all, because I know they know how to get a team ready.
Right.
But they don't really stress. See,
They don't stress star
they play
players.
chess when everybody else is playing checkers, right? They don't really worry about seeding and all of that, dude. They build their team to win anywhere in the springtime, bro. Doesn't matter if they playing at home or on the road. That's the way Riles sets everything.
I say that's the Pat Riley
And
mindset.
they always find rookies to come in and be effective, man.
My boy out there killing them, boy.
That cat Jaime J is out there getting it done, bro.
He getting it done about he like a couple of games away from tying or breaking Dwayne Wade's rookie scoring record. Yeah.
That's incredible. So let's go ahead and transition yesterday, man. How special was it to be around? And Malik and I were talking about this. Well-deserved honor given to Muffet McGraw yesterday. Well-deserved, man. And to have her predecessor be the point guard that brought her first championship. I mean, everything is just like full circle, man. It had to be incredible to be there and to experience that.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. You know, we actually brought Muffet onto the show on Saturday at ABC 57, had her in studio. And, you know, what she's meant to the program and the community, man, you can see it in full force Sunday morning. You know, just the media, it was hard. Just you know how it is. It's just media hard getting to the camera deck over there because of, you know, what she means to South Bend and, you know, still living in the area, still putting in work and still interacting with the community, man. It was a heck of an environment, a great job by Notre Dame to be like, we're going to do this right before the Purdue game, team that she won her first national championship against, as you mentioned, with the head coach, the predecessor who was the point guard, you know, during her first national championship.
Yeah, that's an absolutely wonderful moment, man. And once again, kudos to Muffin McGraw. And like you said, bro, you said it as well as it could be said. What she means not only to the athletic program and the presence that's still there, but what she meant to that community.
Right.
Now let's get to it, man. Hey, let's get to it, bro. There's no way coming off that press conference you saw this coming this morning. Right. Absolutely no way. Was there like buzz around the bend that this was a possibility?
I haven't heard anything. We were, like you said, we were just there Saturday at 1:30. It was no talks or anything. It was all focused on Mike Brown, which makes you think what the heck was going on with Parker while Freeman and Brown are in the press conference at Notre Dame Stadium. Man, like, yeah, I just looked at it and saw it 10 minutes before I jumped on here.
Hell, like, what do you think Mike Brown's thinking? He like, wait a minute.
Right. Like, what am I coming into? Is Mike Brown the interim OC?
Yeah, like,
like
I think it's unfortunate for a guy like Marcus Freeman, third year, rotating through two offensive coordinators unexpectedly. But then you're asked and to get in the season and be like, oh, we got to win all these games, and it just seems like it's 2 steps forward and a couple steps backwards every time.
And on top of that, not steps backwards, man, but for the second straight season, the offensive coordinator that makes the pitch to the transfer quarterback you bring in leaves. Like that I don't know if that's ever happened to a big-time college football program, back-to-back years. Like, is Mike Brown the one? Do you think they stay in-house with Mike Brown or Gino Guidugli, or do they go through a national search?
I think it's no different than when you're looking at the transfer portal. Like I heard Malik earlier saying, like, you know, at some point, basically, they got to develop in-house. You know, you got to focus on what's in-house, guys you're bringing in if you want to create some continuity and all that stuff. So I think you got to kind of do that with the coaching as well. But at the same time, the portal changes are just as lethal as the coaching changes. Like, you got to adapt to the times. At some point, you're going to have to bring a guy in that's going to bring impact right away, whether that be player or coach. So I think Notre Dame is trying to figure it out. But I really don't know, man, to be honest with you. I would like to see a guy like Dylan get the job. I think he's capable.
Yeah.
But I think he and Al Golden are kind of like tick for tack as far as how just they want to be dominant in a respectful, leading the offense, leading the defense.
And dominance comes through experience too.
Yeah.
You know, if you have more stabs at it, the better you get. The more we keep restarting guys goes to our point of why you need to develop and put on the field the product that you already have in-house. And a lot of this situation is now going on 2 years in a row where the quarterback in-house should have been the one playing, especially if, okay, you say you want to bring in Sam, he's better talented, whatever, but you didn't support Sam with the guy that recruited him. Marcus Freeman ain't calling no plays on offense. So to be let down in instances like that, I think, you know, somebody's not having those real conversations amongst the coaching staff. If I'm Marcus Freeman, I'm like, look, before we go dive into any transfer or anything, are you here or not? Because I'm going to just go with CJ Carr and the boys in the room if you want to dip out or you don't have to be sneaky. Because I definitely think it makes it way harder for Marcus Freeman to be in this position than to be in the position of trusting your guys. Think about a guy like Dabo Sweeney, who openly said, no, we ain't going to transfer, we sticking with Cade Klubnik. So if in that situation, if the OC leaves, that's fine. You still got a veteran guy that knows enough about the guys around him to give you something better than a first-year product. Riley Leonard's coming in at a disadvantage outside of him being at a disadvantage from a relationship and communication standpoint. He's at a disadvantage with coming into a new system with everything being new. How do you apply your talents to something where nobody's on the same page yet, and you got what 4 or 5 months to do that? So it's another unique experience for Marcus Freeman his third off season, but I think it impacts him all the same. I think it is all the same impact where these are, in my opinion, giant news headlines for a guy that's going into his third year. Like these headlines are just as exciting as the headlines that he had coming in, where you're like, man, they sound like they running around trying to find answers. You can't be in your third year with this much transition, because I don't even think Coach Kelly had this much transition. Let's be serious. When was the last time Coach Kelly had to get a new OC every other year? So
It's like, look, it's crazy. How you've been down there, bro, because we're not there. How do you think he's been This has been some crazy stuff. Like, as soon as the season is over, game in Stanford, they get back to South Bend and everything just went haywire, dude. Like, how do you think Marcus Freeman has kind of held up and being able to go ahead and make sure that the program continues to move forward in a positive manner?
I think he's using the same tactic that got him the job in the first place. He just he's a player's coach. He's a young coach. He's not even 40 years old. When you see him out here interacting, I mean, guys at the Mexican restaurant up the street, he's walking into Whole Foods and different groceries. He's who he is, right? He's the same guy that got him the job, and I think that's what we see here in the community. That's helping Marcus Freeman. You can relate to him. He's your average guy, but he wants to be a winner at the end of the day. So
when you got that ace in the hole like Al Golden, he probably feels great. In situations he could be like, yeah, that was my hire. He's rocking with me, and I can see the development over 2 years. We're literally not getting any development from the offense since Marcus Freeman's been there. Hell, when Marcus Freeman was there, it was a different offense. You had Tommy running things the way he did with Drew Pine. You get in there with a Sam Hartman with no OC. It's like we got a car without the steering wheel. And now you get Riley Leonard. Now Riley Leonard seems like a worse transfer impact. Unless we hired his Duco coach.
Ooh, Chris Johns, I don't know if I want to go that route.
Exactly. So then you got to think, okay, if I'm Chris Mitchell.
Right.
Chris Mitchell was like, well, shoot, I thought we was going to come in there. I can help with my experience. They told me we was going to do this and that. Now he's leaving. I'm no different than a freshman in high school coming into college. No idea what direction things are going to go. Wow. So this is definitely spelling problematic getting into the season. I'm not going to be surprised if we're struggling early on offensively, because it makes sense. I mean, how do you not? Anybody that we've seen successful in college football is a offense that has at least 1 or 2 years under their belt and a whole bunch of organization on one side of the ball. We're organized on defense, and we see the benefit. Top 10 defense. Everybody that Marcus Freeman's had his hand on hiring has been productive in some way. So it just goes back to maybe Marcus Freeman needs to get full control of the program.
Lucky Lefty podcast right here, my boy, the ONORA boys. Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire, our special guest from ABC 57 down in the Bend. LEVON WHITAKER joins us right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Okay, let's move to what the main topic was going to be today, and that was the press conference on Saturday. And the first practice, everything was buzzing, news around CJ Carr, walked through the day before, and then the practice on Saturday, you have recruits in the building taking in, practice for the Sun Bowl. And then Marcus Freeman meets with the media. And it was so funny because the assumption in the question was, well, we know these are the two guys that are going to start at left tackle. And Marcus Freeman's like, no, actually, this is the new guy that's won the job at left tackle. As you sat there, was it a shock to you, or as shocking, or was it something that you pretty much heard was a possibility due to the way he was performing in practices during the season?
I wasn't surprised, that Freeman said that, hey, it's not the guy that basically said it's not the guy that everybody's been assuming it would be. The same for the right tackle. Hey, we got some competition over there as well. And I say it's not a surprise because when you know that a guy like Joe Alt is leaving, you got to open up all possibilities. You know, when you have Zeke Correll, who Ashton Craig, you would think that Ashton Craig is the reason that Zeke Correll entered the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. And you got to open up all possibilities and see who plays well with who. You don't have the veteran leadership of Joe Alt anymore. You don't have Blake Fisher over there to lead the other side of that offensive line. So you gotta, switch out pieces and see who not only performs athletically the best, but who can perform the scheme the best, who can perform, who can communicate the best on the front line. So I think that's, I don't think it was a surprise to not to me at least, but probably most of the people in the media room that day.
And what else stood out about you when he talked about preparation for the Sun Bowl? I know he's excited to have the guys that they were able to retain that decided to come back. That definitely helps out that defense and keeps that defense on track to be another great defense next year in 2024. But I think that also helps with the lack of inexperience, or the inexperience that he talked about. I'm not just starting like a first-time quarterback. He was like the 2 running backs, first-time starters as well, and the tackles in that game. So it's a lot of inexperience offensively, and it's good to have those guys on the defense coming back to play in the Sun Bowl.
I think Marcus is much like Oregon State. They probably not too. They like, hey, we gotta do what we got, because Oregon State is the same type of train wreck right now.
Right,
guys in and out of the portal. So and coaches as well. Heck, the head coach, So you got an interim head coach. You got to, even though you hired a new head coach, it's a lot going on both sides. I think like you said, I got my defense. It's static. It's stable. It ain't going nowhere. It is what it is. We got who we got. Offensively, what are you going to do about it? This is your time to go out there and, now that Parker may not be here, it was your time to go out there and, throw something on the board and see what sticks. But now you got to kind of go back to the drawing board. You don't have a chance. You stuck here. Yeah. You probably could have ran your offense. Your only hope probably is Geno and Dylan doing this hand in hand with Steve Angeli, who they both know, and a running back, and Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, Jabron Payne, those guys that can help you out in this matchup.
What's your confidence level in Steve Angeli? Just from what I think, I said this the other day, bro. I was there in the spring. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be around in the fall. When I was there in the spring, wasn't overly impressed with Steve Angeli. But then I watched him play, and I was like, okay, this is not the same quarterback I saw in the spring. Doesn't mean that he's a world beater, but he's nowhere near the player he was. I see a little gain in confidence and some coaching that's taking place. What confidence level does that put you at going into this Sun Bowl game with how he can perform?
If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say a 7. I think the best thing about Steve Angeli is he's had to be a competitor the last 2 years. You were behind Pine and Buckner, now you're behind Hardman, now you're behind Riley Leonard. You've had to be the competitor, and you've had absolutely no weight on your shoulders to go out there and run the offense. Mm-hmm. So to go out there and be a starter, I think it's the same thing. What you got to lose? Ain't nobody here to take your spot right now. You're going to throw in Kenny Minchie. God bless the kid, but he's a freshman. But, is he a threat? I don't think so. You have nothing to lose. Go out there, play a game. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. The run game is your best offensive weapon. Get the job done. You got two big wideouts that are back healthy, according to Freeman, Deion Cozy, Jaden Thomas. Get it to your wideouts, get it to your tight end, Cooper Flanagan. But run the damn ball.
You know what? That's right to do. That's the music. This might be the most fun Marcus Freeman is going to have in the game. He wants to run the ball anyway. So, expect Notre Dame to run the ball 60% of the time, 55% of the time.
Right.
Take shots with their big receivers on the outside. Take some shots on the inside with their speedy guys, Jaden Greathouse, and then get Faison to take the top off the ball. A little bit of Caleb Smith, KK here and there, and then let that defense take over.
Exactly.
Right? And get after a young third-string quarterback. So Xavier Watts gets a pick 6 here. and then Notre Dame can get away with the W. Just win the game. I think that's what Marcus Freeman is saying. Hey, we just got to find a way to win this game.
Yep.
And then we can move forward.
Your defense is going to be the reason why I think Al Golden is going to have a lot of fun, just for lack of better terminology, torturing Oregon State's offense.
How do you feel? Let's forecast after the Sun Bowl. And let's say Notre Dame comes away with a win, right? Now, do we have to worry about, man, teams are coming after Dylan McCullough, teams are coming after Al Golden? Like, that could be like, it's already been a tumultuous offseason for Marcus Freeman. If you add that to the mix after the Sun Bowl, man, even for Marcus Freeman holding it together, I would think he would have a private moment in his office with a nice little nightcap. Like, man, this is wild.
Man, if I'm Marcus Freeman, I'm building a carriage house for Al Golden in the backyard. I don't want him going nowhere. You know, I need all eyes on him. And to be honest, I think if Al Golden was going to leave, he would have been done it. I think teams would have tried to poach him by now. I just don't see this Sun Bowl, any bowl game right now. If you're not in the playoffs, if you're not in a New Year's Six Bowl, especially the Sun Bowl, I don't think it means anything I don't think it improves the stock for anybody. It'd be impressive if Notre Dame pulls it off with the lack of players and staff that they have before as opposed to the first 12 games of the season. But I mean, you don't got them, and it's kind of the environment of college football. Ain't nobody going into the bowl game, especially a meaningless bowl game.
Yeah,
with the same guys they played the 12 games within the regular season. So I think Dylan is. I don't think Dylan is safe. I think because what Dylan did in the first 12 games in the regular season, he's a high commodity anyway, and even higher commodity. Like I said, Al Golden, one of the best defensive coordinators, if not the best in the country, as far as improvement from year one to year two.
So what's the coverage going to be like for you? And we thank you and appreciate you for getting up and giving us some time, bro. What's the coverage like for you with this signing day coming up for this 2024 class?
Because just because of there's just the way the job is painted out as a sports reporter right now at ABC 57. We so knee deep into college basketball, and I'm knee deep in high school basketball hosting the show. We see the sign. We see the guys when they get here. You know, when we get to see CJ Carr here. Obviously, that's the one we all waiting for. We know he's here. We're just waiting on a chance to see him at the podium. But other than that, we chilling. You know, we chilling, and we just waiting on that day where we get to see the freshmen and the transfers, just like we did earlier this year, rather with guys like Javonte, Jean-Baptiste, Thomas Harper, all those guys. So we just waiting on that time. We can get our hands on Riley Leonard and CJ Carr when they get here.
And before you go, your first impression of new wide receiver coach Mike Brown.
Man, outside of the beard, he looked just like Chancey Stuckey, but that's what I thought originally. But I think he gonna, it's kind of hard to tell. I think he's a stand-up guy. I mean, just off first impression, obviously we'll see how that goes. But he has a decent track record. Confident. He got to the podium. He was confident. He didn't sugarcoat. Hey, I ain't seen nothing but 1 or 2 practices. I can't give you a scouting report on these guys. It is what it is. We'll see what we're working with after the bowl game.
All right, give us your prediction. Sun Bowl. Oregon State takes on the Fighting Irish. How do you see it playing out? And are you going to be down there? Because last year, let me tell you something, man. You did an absolute fabulous job with your coverage last year at the Gator Bowl.
Appreciate that.
You both sides of the fan bases. Man, the coverage you had all week was absolutely fantastic. Guys, lock in with LEVON WHITAKER, man. He does great work covering, like you said, women's basketball, the Fighting Irish on the gridiron, even local high school basketball. I'm entrenched in Chicago basketball, and I keep up with you, just to see what's going on in that area in Indiana. But, how is it going to play out with you guys? Are you guys going to be tag teaming down in El Paso?
Well, first of all, it's mutual, man, because I got a lot of close friends over in Chicago. So growing up in Gary, man, you know, we always, you know, sometimes we play the Simeons and the Young. So now you get to see those, you know, the other teams. Now I definitely look forward to hearing seeing what you got to say and keeping us updated on the Chicago news. But we are not going to the Sun Bowl.
Okay.
So we had a pretty long regular season going to Ireland and NC State, Louisville, Duke, Clemson. So we had a pretty long regular season. So we're not traveling to the Sun Bowl, but we have some recap, man, and talk about what's going on down there on December 29th. And my prediction, man, I haven't had 3 one of these in a couple of weeks for football. I'm gonna say 31-14, 31-10 Notre Dame.
Ooh. And I can see that.
I just got so much faith in Al Golden in this defense. Now, unless something happened between the next 11 days with Al Golden, that's my prediction. What you got though? What y'all thinking on this, man?
Well, Left is so disrespectful. Left has been disrespectful to every opponent this year for Notre Dame.
Let's get water.
He's been disrespectful to every single opponent. I think the defense is going to stifle Oregon State. I agree. Oregon State scores probably like 10 to 13 points. And I would say something like 28-13, but around the same area.
That field goal difference.
Yeah. I got 21-17. I got us beating Oregon State. You talk about a battle of the backups. I don't know how much Steve Angeli has in him to be able to produce over 21 points. Sounds like we won't have an offensive coordinator. We won't have our 2 right tackles. I think this is a challenge for Marcus Freeman, probably a tougher one that he's ever had.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but the good thing is we still got a defense that's solid. But I think this game will also show how much Steve can be an impact for this football team. Yeah. Is he going to be the answer? Is he going to be the constant in this to be able to carry the ship as we're making all these transitions? I think this is a great game. This is a great game for Steve to prove his worth. You don't have all the glitz and glamour around you, but you have the biggest wealth of knowledge about the offense. And, you know, leadership matters a lot in games like this because that's what it's going to take. So I think that at the end of the day, this is a great test run for Steve Angeli to know if he should transfer or not, but also for Marcus Freeman to get adjusted to what needs to be done moving into the offseason.
Once again, Lucky Lefty Podcast, we are so appreciative to have, man, it's good, bro. I saw my other brother, I saw Drew walking up to the stadium for the Ohio State game. I was like, yo, where's my other brother? He was like, yo, he's in the stadium. So it was good to see him. I missed you. I can't wait to get back down there, you know, one of these press conferences soon, man, to dap it up, break bread with you, man, because I missed you guys over the summer. And then on top of that as well, just know that our show, I got Kenton Gibbs is one of our guests that people love from Locked On ACC, and he's a Kappa. So he literally has like people that watch our show now reaching out to him, connecting with him, right? That are nukes, and I already know what you are, bro. So I know the bros are probably gonna be watching. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's everywhere, man.
I know the bros are probably gonna be watching, and when they find out, oh snap, LEVON is okay. Yeah, they're gonna be hitting us up like, hey, how can we connect? Let people know how they can connect with you on Twitter and Instagram.
To all the Qs worldwide, man. Root to the bros, man. And I'm all on social media, man. Let me see what my social names are because I forget, man. Twitter, LEVON WHIT_TV. That's LEVON_WHITT_TV. And on Instagram, LEVON LEVON_WHITT. You find me everywhere on social media. I'm on every platform. And then, man, yeah, that's about it, man. You search me on ABC 57's website. And I had a quick question. Actually, I got an email this morning, if you don't mind, from a viewer of ours. And he's really curious about understanding college football and why do players enter the transfer portal or declare for the NFL draft just prior to the bowl games. Earning a spot in the bowl isn't easy for a team, and Notre Dame losing 11 starters to either the draft or portal, including Hartman, Estime, Merriweather, and Cam Hart. He just doesn't understand why he doesn't wait till after postseason play. Now, I have my response, but I wanted to get, throw that out there for y'all and see if y'all, y'all could give a, I know all know what it is, but,
Right.
put in your own words why that is the case.
As the athlete left, you can go ahead because you've actually had this experience.
Outside of training, I don't see the reason for kids to do it. I mean, you done played all them games. Sam Hartman done played 50 games plus in his career. You opted not to play this last one. It doesn't make too much sense to me. But, if we're thinking about the program, I would hope Marcus Freeman would have had the conversation with Sam to be like, look, I need you to sit this one out for the betterment of the program. So if that was the case, I think it makes more sense for a guy to sit out. But other than that, I mean, to weigh everything on possibly being injured one game, I mean, I look back on being an old head now and being like, all them games and opportunities to play, you would die for those opportunities now. And so I think there's very few situations where it makes sense. Like I said, if you're going to be a top 5 pick, I get it. Hell, if you're a top 5 pick, you don't even do combine stuff for real. So it is an interesting thing that I think has become more of a trend than it is an actual reason for kids to do this. Because not all these kids sitting out are first-round picks. Let's just be honest. Even Aldridge, I doubt, is a first-round pick. Not that he won't get picked up high, but, so outside, my only thing is if it's not because of Marcus Freeman asking guys not to join the bowl game, or if you're not a first pick of the draft, I don't really see the point of it.
And the way I look at it, bro, is, I'm going to speak from what I heard from Marcus Freeman, which was he didn't agree with all the decisions, but he supported them, as he said. But I know when someone asked him, for the last month and a half, man, when it comes to Sam Hartman, he has been his reactions to certain questions have shown that, like, I don't know if that relationship was all good towards the end of the season. I really don't. Because you could tell when they asked him about Sam opting out, he was like, man, ask Sam. I was like, whoa, okay. And I think it varies depending on, it varies. We knew Joe Alt wasn't playing, and I knew Joe Alt wasn't playing, right? That was expected.
Right.
Blake Fisher, all right, Maris. I understood Maris from the standpoint of Maris has had a long list of injuries at Notre Dame, right? He gets the invite to the Senior Bowl. It's like, okay, if you sat down with your representation and your family and you felt like, yo, it's been a long season, let's rest our body a little bit and then ramp it back up in preparation for the Senior Bowl, I understand from that standpoint. But I'm kind of, I wish players did take these bowl games as serious, because I'm watching the LA Bowl Saturday night with UCLA and Boise State.
Is that a new bowl game?
I think it is, bro, or an older bowl game that's just changed names and locations.
Yeah, I'm like, I've never heard of the LA Bowl. That sounds kind of cool.
But yo, when those young men stepped on the field, they played like they wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And I think most guys, if they actually stepped on the field, they would play like they wanted to be there. So it's a sad state of where we are in college football and how things have changed and how they might end up getting worse, moving forward. But expansion might alleviate that with certain bowls. But yeah, I understand the angst from your listener and the guy and fan. And I understand certain guys, and then certain guys, I'm like, okay.
I love it. Yeah, I thought it was. I agree that I think it's become more of a trend for so many players to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think the other part of it is, like you said, Joe Alt's not going to play. I think the injury factor is huge. And first round, but I would even say first 3 rounds. If you go in the first 3 rounds, you probably want to sit out to avoid the injury. Again, you think like, what's one more game? You've been out here 12 games for the last 3-4 seasons, and you ain't been worried about injury.
That's what I'm saying. It's like now all of a sudden, come on, man, come on,
now,
give me a better reason.
But I think the one name, and obviously it's a lot of names, but the one name that rings in everybody's head should be Jalen Smith. You think of what happened to him, what took place.
You're absolutely right. And like you said, Jalen Smith's 101.
Exactly.
Maris ain't no Jalen Smith.
Exactly.
I mean, not to discredit Maris, but we just being apples to apples here. And that was, like I said earlier, the situation where you do sit out. Yep. Jalen Smith could be making $100 million right now.
Facts.
Just if he didn't play the game. Now, in the moment, I'm not gonna lie, that was a classic game environment. You got Joey Bosa, Zeke Elliott, Jalen Smith on the field, Will Fuller. So it was a star-studded event, which at the heat of moment, I cannot blame Jalen for wanting to play in that game. Because, hell, I mean, first round pick, Joey Bosa played in the game. He just got kicked out first drive. So I do think that, man, that's a rare situation. But even in that moment, I feel like it would be hard to convince Jalen not to play either. It's just the luck of the draw. It's like anytime you go out there, you have a chance of getting hurt. That's what's so funny is you talk about these fighter pilots, right? And fighter pilots culture, they share their wives, which to everybody outside of fighter pilot culture seems a little crazy. Hell, it is crazy. But because they know subconsciously when they go out there that they might not return, they want somebody to love them, their wife, the way they love them. That's why they swap wives and all that crazy stuff you hear about. But that's the same thing going into these football games. Every opportunity, think about it, you train 20 years to get ready for this 3 or 4 seasons and these 10 or 12 opportunities each year to play, and you put so much into it, and then, shit, in my case, you get hurt the second game of your career getting going. You like, damn, right? Like, I could have said, I don't want to play against Virginia because, that's beneath me. No, it's the next game on the schedule. You go out there and go out all out. So when it comes to the bowl game, I think it's just an easy thing for guys to decide between because there is no game after. And in the bowl games, significance isn't as much as it was previous. I remember, in the early 2000s, them bowl games meant everything.
Everything, yeah.
Even if it wasn't going to the championship, it felt like a championship because there was some great matchups. You think of Baylor versus Boise State and, Oklahoma versus Boise. There's a ton of classic games that it meant more. Now, because so many guys are, in this free enterprise market, that everybody's trying to be more individualized in how they make their decisions, which is cool because we know that the system itself doesn't gear towards, keeping guys necessarily the safest. But it goes back to, are we going to take the strategy of the professional leagues? I like the idea of schools having trust funds for kids and the NIL coming through that. Because even when Jalen Smith got hurt, he had an insurance policy, but it would have been even better and probably more money if he was able to collect that trust fund check at Notre Dame after the game, So the transfer portal, the way we play it, I think we're almost counter to how it works. But you got to have faith in Marcus Freeman because at the end of the day, as much as we probably don't like to see as many guys sit out, we're also really excited because of the fact that we got a lot of opportunity for young guys that we've been wanting to play for a long time, and even guys coming in that we want to see them get some action, a.k.a. Aeneas Williams. Shout out to him. I really want to see him play next year. So it's a good transition, maybe not the way we want to do it, but it happened in the same way.
Yeah.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. Once again, we appreciate our good brother LEVON WHITAKER, ABC 57. News joining us. And yeah, man, I'll be seeing you real soon, man. I know we got some press conferences coming up, like you said, with the transfers, and I'm definitely sliding down to the bend in the coming weeks. So, man, have a great holiday, bro. Eternal blessings and favor to you and your man. How's your pup, man?
Oh, the dog is good, man. He's good. He was actually just here. What's today? Monday. He just left yesterday, so he stays in Indy with my girl and her family. But yeah, he's a lot better, man. I appreciate you for asking. Man.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Turn,
Always worried about. I love my K9s, bro. I
Oh,
love my K9s. All right, bro. Have a great holiday, safe travels, man. If you're going somewhere, and I'll chop it up with you soon.
For sure, man. I'll be in touch.
Absolutely. That's LEVON Whitaker, ABC 57 News down in the bend, giving us some insight on Gerard Parker, the press conference, and left. This is a crazy man. Notre Dame never fails us. I tell people all the time, there's enough meat on the Notre Dame media bone for everybody. So there's always something to talk about. And the fact that we talk 365 every day, or at least we try to, shows you just how much Notre Dame controls the media market in the Midwest and even nationally in college football. It's absolutely crazy. Lilo Galante says, SD, how do you feel about the Parker situation? I mean, my only issue is the fact that for the second straight year, the guy that brought in a transfer quarterback is no longer here. That's my biggest issue, man. That's it. I'm not like people. I was along the lines of allowing Gerard Parker to have a second year.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, we all was.
Tommy Reese wasn't good. Yeah, and he was given a chance, and I think he's improved. I was giving Gerard Parker the same opportunity, bro. The same opportunity, but now he's no longer here. Left, we come back. Left, on to chop it up and get into some of this press conference and what Marcus Freeman had to say. All right, Lucky Lefty podcast. We spin it different. We're back, Lucky Lefty podcast once again. College Football Nation presented by
Yeah. That should have been on the 50-year hip hop Grammy award show.
Oh, yes, sir. What was your favorite part of that show? By the man, that was a
I can tell you my worst favorite part. My worst favorite part.
Your worst favorite part.
The part that it stuck out to me the most that I didn't like. Why is Machine Gun Kelly up there at all? At all. Like, I don't want you reading off no awards. I don't want to hear nothing from Machine Gun Kelly. This is 50 years of hip hop, and 45 of them years you wasn't even involved yet. So give me all old school, give me real hip hop up there. But that's the one thing I didn't like. What I did like was when they were performing, I didn't know how they were structuring it. It was cool to see like they do a song and then transitions to another artist.
The next song.
Yeah, that was kind of fly. So it was like a quick overview of hip hop history,
Questlove did a great job curating it.
That's right.
He was involved with production. The performance by Jazzy Jeff and Will Smith was fantastic. The female performers with Queen Latifah, MC Light, Stetson Sonic to start off the show was absolutely amazing.
As you look back on Queen Latifah, like 50 years of hip hop, you get to this point, Queen Latifah's impact.
Top 10.
Top 10? Yeah.
Top 10. Ooh. Yeah. Undeniable.
Okay.
She's undeniable.
Okay.
She's undeniable. You look at the performance of her music and her albums and record sales and what she established on the commercial side. See, they had her as commercial success along with Salt and Pepper, and then they had the underground with MC Light. You know what I mean? And like Moni Love. So that was really great balance back in the day, which I'm not sure if that exists on the female side right now from a content standpoint, but hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. All right, Left, let's get into it, man. Marcus Freeman met with the media on Saturday had a lot to say, and we start with his thoughts on Op 13, man. Op 13.
Things have been just moving over the past 3 weeks, but I feel finally getting back yesterday, we have clarity in our roster, clarity in terms of who our opponent is, and really have turned all of our attention towards Oregon State. And so we added Mike Brown to our staff, which we announced last week. Mike's obviously a guy that I worked with closely at Cincinnati, and to me, the things that I remember most about our time together was the developer that he was of the entire room. I've seen him truly develop that room at Cincinnati, and I know people look at the draft picks that came out of that room, but to me, it's from top to bottom, seeing him develop young people. It's the recruiter and evaluator he is. Really just the guys I've seen him bring into that program and develop, and the energy he brings. And it brings an energy to this coaching staff, to that wide receivers room, and last but not least, the husband, the father, the person he is. I'm excited to get his wife Diamond here, his 2 sons, 3 and Drew, and have them join our family. So we all year we talk about the 12 guaranteed opportunities, right? And so we've obviously turned the page to opportunity 13.
Opportunity 13, the Sun Bowl, December 29th. Against the Oregon State Beavers. Left. How do you read Marcus Freeman right there? Because right there, he probably knows. Because now that we know, in that moment, Jared Parker has already interviewed with Troy. And he knows. Dude, think about
I'm pissed about Marcus Freeman.
I'm pissed. Did this press conference knowing more than likely that Jared Parker had interviewed, was interested in leaving for the head coaching job at Troy, and got it. I'm trying to figure out what in the world Jared Parker said in the interview that impressed Troy so much, because if they watched the Notre Dame offense and his play calling against good teams, I'm trying to, how did he get on the list?
Yeah, how do you replace a play caller at the end of the season? I know it was a collaborative effort, but you got to think, we're replacing a play caller, a receiver coach. Hell, our quarterback coach hadn't been active all year, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So where is the offensive strategy coming from on that side of the football? Steve Angeli going to go in there and put a game plan together because Sam's not in there. Audrick's not there to lean on. So this is probably the rawest and most vulnerable this Notre Dame football team probably will be moving forward to the future, because we're so bare, but also losing critical pieces offensively. We already had dysfunction with all the coaches there. Now you lose the coaches that's calling the plays, the coaches to get the receivers on board, and your quarterback's gone, your running back's gone, your left and right tackle gone, your center gone. So, hell, Steve is probably looking at this like, man, listen. But I tell you what, if Steve goes out there and wins the game or plays really well, he deserves to be at least running the first team when Riley gets there. But unfortunately, when you're paying that cash, Steve don't have a choice but to leave. So Marcus Freeman put these guys in position. And it's just tough titty, man.
Oh, I haven't heard that phrase in a long time.
It's tough titty. You telling Riley Leonard you're gonna come in here, you have to start, but we're not giving you what you thought you was getting coming in here. Yeah, it's gonna look like a quarterback competition to the season till you clear out the decks. Because regardless of how good the guy is, he's got to learn what to do, be comfortable doing it, confident doing it, knowing all the checks. That's just not easy thing to do, guys, in a 1-year process, guys. Especially what tape is Riley Leonard gonna watch? Jared Parker's gone. The quarterback from last year's gone. So what you watching? The meat and potatoes of this offense, what made this offense go? The 2 left and right tackles, the running back, the quarterback, and the receiver. Everybody's gone. So Riley Leonard is damn near in a worse position than leaving his old school. And now you put on top that he's a raw project. it doesn't spell good or bode well for hell. These 2 weeks of bull practice, unless you're going, you trying to figure out of those three guys who can do the damn thing. But then with Parker being not there, is Geno capable?
I hope Marcus Freeman goes outside the building. I hope he does. I hope he goes outside the building because of the timing. I think
How much do you think he has control of that?
The timing of Tommy leaving sped up the process. I think this happening when it's happened, he can actually do interviews before he gets to the Sun Bowl. Like, he can get all this done before the Sun Bowl. It's the holiday season. He can absolutely get all of this done before the Sun Bowl.
Yeah, I'm sure Marcus Freeman had a short list of guys throughout the year anyway that if and when in case it happened, he can call on them. But I trust that once Marcus Freeman gets to pick who he wants, I think that's where the success lies for us.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's proven that when he can choose who he wants, things go well. Period. So if things are going to go well for Marcus Freeman, I trust that if he gets a chance to choose outside the building, perfect.
Yeah, it is.
If he gets stuck in these situations, I just don't know how he can help himself.
I simultaneously, within the last 5 minutes, got two texts from two different people, and they both said Notre Dame needs to go hire Brennan Marion as the next offensive coordinator. And if you remember, it was rumored weeks ago that Brennan Marion would be coming to be, or was rumored to be connected to the wide receiver search, if I'm not mistaken. And oh man, he's currently the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at UNLV. And he turned things around with some young quarterbacks there. So, like I said, there was a rumored connection between him and Marcus Freeman. And Marcus Freeman came out and BME denied it when those stories came out. And now I get two people texting me saying, yo, Notre Dame needs to hire this guy. So I hope Marcus Freeman goes out and gets a guy that he can depend on with experience that's going to help him learn the other side of the football and expand on things. And look, let me tell you something. This is something right here, Left. This offense, from a talent standpoint and quarterback standpoint, is a very attractive job right now, Left. Offensive coordinator at Notre Dame is attractive right now. Riley Leonard's your quarterback. Bo Collins, Chris Mitchell at wide receivers, with the incoming freshmen and the returning guys at wide receiver. The history of offensive linemen, the running back room you're walking in with. You will be a fool to not want to be an offensive coordinator at Notre Dame next year. Also, Marcus Freeman said that the new left tackle for the Sun Bowl is not going to be who we thought it was. It's going to be freshman Charles JAGUSAH.
You have two open spots at offensive tackle. Wagner and Baker, I would imagine, are the leading candidates. Are there others competing to get the starting nod?
Actually, Charles JAGUSAH has gotten the majority of the first team reps at the left tackle, and then Tosh and Emil have really been battling out at the right tackle position. And so we've been rotating them throughout the first 5 practices that we've had. But today, as we started going towards scout teams, JAGUSAH will be at the left, and then it'll be a battle to see who's going to be the right tackle for the game.
Charles JAGUSAH is the guy, Left. True freshman.
Yeah, I loved Charles JAGUSAH's demeanor, especially his recruitment and how he went about it. He just was like, look, let me watch a couple hours of film. When he's standing, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Shows the guy that he's a gamer. He's serious about what he wants to do and where he wants to go. His impact of a one-game performance, I think he'll be fine. And I think we'll get to see what we felt like from Blake Fisher when we got to see him early on in the Florida State game before he got hurt. We had a lot of high hopes. And I think that's just the other benefit, is that we get to see what we've had on this roster that hasn't got a chance to be highlighted. And a guy like Charles JAGUSAH, we feel very encouraged by get an opportunity in a situation like this, it's really no harm, no foul. Like, it's not like, this is a championship on the line or something. This is seriously like a test run of where you are in the program without your starters.
Mm-hmm.
What actual talent do you have? How do they prepare 2 weeks for a bowl game? And what's important to you in wanting to win games? And I think for Marcus Freeman, getting CJ Carr there in these couple weeks of bowl practice is really, really encouraging, because it shows that you trying to see what you got. You can't get into the transfer portal without knowing what you do or don't have. And so for him to feel, and the reviews of CJ to be pretty good early on, I'm tossing out transfer portal for next year out of my mind regardless. I wouldn't even be talking about transfer portal for quarterback after this Riley Leonard thing. Because if anything, you still got to address, what are you going to do with Riley Leonard? Because it's almost as if you can't have those other 3 guys play better. You see what I'm saying? You cannot have Steven Angeli, Kenny Minchie, and CJ Carr looking to be better than Riley. It just cannot happen whatsoever. I think if we're honest, it should play out a lot like how Alabama's situation. Alabama got a transfer in, thought it could be good, tried it, and nipped it in the bud early and moved on. And they continue to win 11 games straight after that. So I think Marcus Freeman, if we're taking this Riley Leonard route, if it doesn't work in the first 4 games, move on. Don't need to be hanging on to Riley. Look, we're not getting Riley Leonard to the league is on Riley Leonard. If he's playing bad through the first 4 games or not playing how he should.
They start with Texas A&M. Louisville the 4th game or the 5th game? Let me double check, Left, because I want to make sure. I think it's the 5th game. Yes, Louisville is the 5th game on September 28th. And they play. So 2 of the first 5 games are pretty good games. In between that is Northern Illinois, Purdue, and Miami of Ohio. Your boy Chuck Mark. So you can continue, Left. If he doesn't play well the first 4 games, then did we lose, Left?
Right? What are we doing? Okay. We benching.
You
Get him out of here. Benching.
If he's not playing well after the first.
Because what are we hanging on for? You're telling me Marcus Freeman is how I perceive what Marcus Freeman is telling me from what he's been doing in his transfer portal is that we're winning it all undefeated. Because if that's not the case, how is Riley Leonard that much better than Steve? Where? How? How is he going to be ready for an offense he ain't never heard of or seen before? How?
So you're saying if he struggles the first 4 games, move on.
Tyler Buckner struggled in a couple drives and we ain't seen him since. It was so bad they done sent him back to Notre Dame to just go to school. So Alabama has no problem in making those hard decisions, but I'm tired of us riding guys with the wheels fall off who give us no value in return. What is Sam Hartman's value in return be to us? I can't name one.
Man, that's pretty interesting. Left, that you saying something there, man, and that's something to think about. I hope it does. I don't think Notre Dame fans.
Do you realize he won the MVP of the team? Sam Hartman won the MVP of the how? What MVP did Aldrich's the MVP?
Wait a minute. That is, I see. Yeah, the overlove for Notre Dame that they've shown to Sam Hartman is like, we can talk about that on the petty train. We can talk about that. Marcus Freeman being happy about the returning guys on defense.
The most valuable player
Not only
of the
are
team?
they great football players and productive football players and experienced football players, but they're great leaders. And to have those 3 guys commit to coming back for another season, it speaks volumes on them in terms of what their aspirations are, right? They love being at Notre Dame. They all three stated they would love to be a captain here at Notre Dame, but they also understand that there's value in terms of trying to improve their draft stock, right? And what coming back in another year of production can do for their draft stock. And so I'm really confident in where our team will continue to be as we head into the future with those guys coming back and with the guys we're obviously bringing in.
All right, Marcus Freeman on the returning guys, Riley Mills, Howard Cross, hopefully Xavier Watts, and also Jack Kaiser. Those guys will be playing in the Sun Bowl. That C must mean something, Left, because he mentioned that guys came back because they wanted to wear the C on their chest.
Ever since I saw what happened to Ronnie, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the C on the
You
chest.
always said you felt like Ronnie got played for the captaincy.
Man, it just showed me that it ain't about, I mean, I don't know, man. You got to do all the right things to be a captain. And it becomes real subjective because I think there's a lot of great candidates, especially during the time I was there. A lot of great guys that could have been captains, myself included. And there was a lot of questions to be asked on how they selected some of these guys.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because it sounds like it's the old model for how they used to select all-stars when Yao Ming was getting all the votes over in China. If it's something like that, like the players get a vote, but then the coaches get a vote. And, you know, I thought it was the players that selected the captain. Straight up and down.
That's like saying, do you think the people hire the president? Come on now. Come on now.
With Jack Kaiser coming back, Marcus Freeman was asked about the linebacking core and how it would look in the bowl game.
Get in there when we play some base. You also see Drake Bowen being a guy that you'll see at Mike and Will. And then, you know, Jaden Alsbury's gotten reps over the course of this bowl practice. So I can see an increased role for all three of those guys. But right now, as we go to base, Snead will be the third backer.
So that's good to hear. Your boy Snead is going to be that main guy that steps in for Maris.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
You sound so excited, Left.
Man, I'm upset because of.
You ticked off about this Jared Parker thing.
It sounds good until you see what's going on in the program. It sounds good to get two noticeable receivers, a highly touted quarterback in the transfer portal, the schedule getting easier. But our problems didn't lie within, in my opinion, necessarily player talent. I think our problems lied in the dysfunction of the offensive side of football. And that has nothing to do with on the field. And then when you take a look at our program offensively, you're like, okay, what's the identity? Well, you lose your OC. So there's a question right there. What's the quarterback situation? Oh, no idea because we get new guys in every year. Oh, is this a bona fide guy? No, this is a guy that's a project, but he's got enough hype. So the actual state of the program is interesting.
It is interesting, you know, and you know.
So trying to find what's the best part about it to like it, look encouraged for is hard when everything is seeming to set it back in a way. Because the real news, if we're talking about it, the real news is CJ Carr playing well. That's the real news. It shouldn't be Riley Leonard. It should be, CJ, the young gun that we recruited coming in looking good.
Yeah, I agree. We'll get to that and what Marcus Freeman had to say about that. But he also talked about Notre Dame, and you'll love this, Left, where they sit currently in the landscape with the transfer portal and NIL.
Wow. You know, I think about the changes in my first 2 years being head coach, from what December presents to all the things that encompass college football. It's forever changing. And I remember the conversation I had with Jack Swarbrick last year at the bowl game in terms of, hey, where we see NIL going, where we see, you know, just college football going, and it's just went right past what we thought it was going to be. And so I truly believe that we are continuing to flourish with the changes in college football. I believe that Notre Dame will continue to be at the front of making sure we take advantage of every new opportunity that college football presents and the changes that it presents. And so you wear a lot of different hats, right? And you got to figure out what it's going to take to help your program have success. And we have a lot of support. Our collective has been great with the fund. Jack Swarbrick and Pete have been amazing in terms of just trying to continue to make sure this program is set to have success.
Well, at least he's having the conversations with the ADs, future and past, to say, hey, what's up? Where are we going with this? Where are we going to be? How are we going to approach this NIL transfer situation? I need to know. And I'm glad that he's being proactive, because it seems like he's being proactive and trying to stretch as much as he can as the head coach in Notre Dame to get the most out of both situations for the university.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to use all his resources because you got to. 'Cause you got to. And being aware of all the things available for a Notre Dame head coach is a great acknowledgement by him, because, you know, there's so many different things that people point to say, oh, this takes away from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But for Marcus Freeman to know what adds to Notre Dame and what makes it go, I think is why he's been doing well. And when he does get a chance to structure the program how he wants it, it turns out to be pretty good. Now, it gets better when they stay. and you can see the development happen when they are sticking around. But until he gets somebody that's willing to stay, it's just going to be hard for him to continue to have repeat success or something different seen offensively with as much rotation as we've been having.
And when I think about it, I said this, the way the landscape has opened up via the portal, in my opinion, has pushed talent down to Notre Dame that normally might not have chosen to take visits to Notre Dame if there were less people in the portal. And now with the gluttony of people in the portal, I think Notre Dame has an advantage that they wouldn't normally have in the transfer portal to be able to go out and get guys like a Chris Mitchell or a Bo Collins. So that's a blessing within itself. And as far as the NIL, like I said, I need Marcus Freeman to continue the conversation. You know, even when Swarbrick leaves, talk to Pete Bavacqua. Get a straight answer. Like, let me know, what do I have? Where am I at? What can I work with? Because it's vitally important that Notre Dame at some point starts advancing. Even if it's small increments, you need to see advancement by Notre Dame.
Defensively, we got to see that.
All right, Left. Why was JAGUSAH the guy? We'll get to that. But Marcus Freeman, check this out, Left. This is his thoughts on Sam Hartman not playing in the Sun Bowl. Having some technical difficulties. Go ahead and take it away, Left.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the Sun Bowl, what we put out there on the field from an aspect of, you know, where we are as a program when things aren't going our way necessarily. And I think um, and, you know, truthfully, at the end of the day, I think the Sun Bowl is just a culmination of what this season has felt for me. As it just was lackluster, man. I thought I was going to see more pop, more unity on the offense side of football, and in a lot of ways, we saw the really good parts of our offense and what it could be in terms of the running game when the offensive line is doing its thing. We know that we can win games through our running game, our offensive line, and defense. So the progression in the Sun Bowl would suggest that we want to see the other aspects of our team flourish. I think there's huge opportunity for us in this quarterback room to see what we got. I think it's huge opportunity in this receiver room to see what we have left or who's healthy, because then it'll just make it a better way of structuring in the offseason. How do we address getting better? I think everybody knows that we have all the opportunity to be a championship team next year, especially with the regular season schedule that we have. I think that Riley Leonard or not, it doesn't matter who's at the quarterback position. It's winnable to get 10 games on our next year's schedule. The question comes in when we get into these playoffs against teams that are formidable and teams that, we might not be slotted to win against. How are we going to come different? Who's our X factors? Who's the best players on our team that we go to when in doubt? Because what we'll see from these college football playoffs this year is that when the chips get down, you're gonna see all the biggest names shine. For Texas, you're gonna see Quinn Ewers, you're gonna see Xavier Worthy, and the clutch moment, Steve Sarkisian is going to them with the football. We already know about Michael Penix and Rome Oduza and their running back, I think his name Johnson. We already know when the chips get down, they're going to go to their playmakers, especially the running game. You look at Alabama, finding ways to win. So I do think that the playoffs are just an example of teams that know how to use their best players in the right moments. And that's our judgment going into the next year is how do we use our best players in the biggest game and best moments.
It's amazing, right? We're watching a matchup in the 2 and 3 spot in the college football playoff. That's the same matchup we saw in a meaningless bowl to people, right? It was a meaningless bowl when Washington and Texas played last year, and it was a great game, and I expect it to be a great game this year. But that just shows you, man, bowl games matter. Gentlemen in those rosters, young men that make a difference, that prep and that bowl game launched them into this season. So as much as the bowl games might not matter to the fan bases, this bowl game could be a launching point for Notre Dame and its players for next season and the college football playoff berth. So at some point, we have to see the value, even though or despite the changes that have taken place in the landscape of college football. Marcus Freeman, why Charles JAGUSAH?
Ability. We've noticed that in recruiting. We noticed that when he got here. There was just not a need at that moment for him to play for us, right? We had a pretty good left tackle that start for us all year, but he's shown on scout team, he's shown in the bye weeks and the individual drills that he's going to be a future great offensive lineman for us. And, throughout the first couple practices, we rotated guys at different positions, but he continued to flourish at that left tackle position, has done a really good job.
It's amazing because when the news broke Saturday, we still had people that wanted to see Tosh Baker at left tackle. And I'm like, this man, I don't know how many other ways Marcus Freeman can tell you that this dude was on scout team and beat the other dudes out. I don't know how many ways he can say it. Like, you just want to play Tosh Baker because he's a veteran and he's been there? What are we talking about? Charles JAGUSAH is obviously the better athlete. That's unquestionable. That's unquestioned. If you watched this film as a senior, you knew that this dude had a chance. 6'70", 330 at the left tackle as a freshman? Are you kidding me? With that athleticism? You darn right.
we recruited the right talent in there for sure.
Left, what did you say? What did Charles JAGUSAH do in the first 6 practices? What did he do, Left? He changed his life.
Yeah.
What did he say? He was on the scout team. He was on the scout team, Left.
Yeah.
He got an opportunity in the first 6 practices, and he changed his life. Changed his life. So now Tosh Baker, you can go. The fact that they took Tosh Baker from left tackle, they was like, dude, this is not even a competition. Like, you There's no need for you to even take reps over here. We're good. Go compete at right tackle. The fact that they told him to change positions lets you know how easy of a decision that was. That lets you know. And you don't need to be careful. Be careful for what? Tosh Baker has played left tackle. He doesn't need to learn how to play left tackle. He's been doing it. He's trying to compete to start. That dude, he knows how to play left tackle. He's a backup left, he's a swing tackle. He can play both positions. So what are we being careful for? He got beat out. Anytime it's close or the younger player is better, you take the younger player. That's simple. That's everywhere. You can't be a veteran player and have a competition where it's close with a younger player. You know the younger player is going to win all the time. He's going to win all the time. And it was going to be a question mark regardless who was there. It was going to be a question mark if Tosh Baker had played. He hadn't started a game at all. Emil Wagner hasn't started a game. The same question mark. Regardless if you start Wagner, Baker, or Charles JAGUSAH left tackle. Doesn't matter. I pick up the fact that the competition after the first 6 practices, it was clear. It was pretty apparent who the better left tackle was between the 3. It was clear. And Emil Wagner was the one starting at right tackle in the practices. Getting most of the reps. Tosh Baker was competing primarily at left tackle. And it seems like he lost that competition. So he got moved to right tackle. So, hey, man. I do. Question mark is a question mark regardless who starts. But you talking about having a silver lining come out of that competition? It's the fact that the dude that you evaluated, Harry Heastan, and Joe Rudolph got his hands on, has developed enough to win a competition against veteran players. That's huge, Left. That's absolutely huge. Lefty podcast. So now we have Marcus Freeman, and this is what he had to say about Sam Hartman opting out.
You'll have to ask Sam. You know, he made the decision that he's going to opt out, and he talked to the people that you know, he felt are important in his life, and made a decision that he felt was best for him. And as I've told all of the guys that have opted out, I can disagree with your decision and still support you, right? And that's the same thing I told Sam and every single other one that opted out. I disagree. I think you should play, but I love you and I support you, and you're going to do great things.
Yeah, the displeasure in his voice was some things concerning Sam Hartman towards the end of the season, and even in that press conference on Saturday it's pretty evident, man.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I mean, all these young guns getting the opportunity to shine. I think it'll show a lot for Marcus Freeman's recruiting skills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you see a Charles JAGUSAH out there dominating. But it's just crazy how, being such a good program, you're judged by the minute things that make a program go. We're not looking at necessarily a team that has to make huge strides.
All right, this is your favorite part, Left. Marcus Freeman on CJ Carr.
I couldn't imagine being CJ and coming in here by yourself. And he was here yesterday for meetings and walkthroughs, and it was like the first day of school, you're the new guy. And, you know, I was able to spend some time with him during practice and after practice. And today, He was slinging the ball around, and he's going to be a great player. But it's just good to have him here, right, in that comfort. And so as you move into the winter and you move into spring ball, he's not starting from ground zero. He knows what the expectations are. He'll know where to go. He'll be able to help those guys that are coming in January figure it out. But I'm glad he's here, and I'm excited for the future of CJ Carr.
I'm excited too, Left.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. For him to have CJ Carr, a top quarterback in his class, and I think CJ Carr's best abilities, he's the better fit. I think out of all the quarterbacks in that class, I think he's the best fit. And in terms of compliment, like his greatest strength is being able to have the guys around him play better. I don't think he's as impactful as a solo talent. Like he's not gonna give us Drake May or Caleb Williams screen popping plays. But you'll look at the end of that stat sheet and be like, okay, you got 24 or 28 with 300 yards and a couple touchdowns. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have to look at the stat sheet because during the game, you're like, okay, there's other players that are really good on this team, and CJ's doing a good job of distributing the football, and it puts him in the position of being a game manager, which I think he is. I think Kenny Minchie's the game changer, but hell, game managers get the job done as well. So that's what I'm saying. This room is very talented. I think there's more talent in our room than what Riley Leonard is coming with. It's just we won't know until we put it on the field.
Man, be respectful. Make sure you call them elite game managers, Left. Elite game managers.
You can't be an elite game manager. You just it's impossible. You either a game manager or you're a game changer. Elite game managers are what?
That's Kirk Cousins.
Okay, I could give an elite game manager would be a Kellen Moore, who only lost 2 games his whole college career. Wasn't first round pick talent wise, but he could be consistent enough to win games. I think that's something that I would appreciate more at Notre Dame because I don't think we're going to get the star-studded Michael Jackson of quarterbacks on a year-to-year basis. I mean, Deuce Knight has some potential.
Yeah.
But that's still 2 years away. You know, a lot can happen.
Yeah. Mike Brown, new wide receiver coach, he introduced himself, and this is what he had to say about himself and what he's looking forward to.
Leaving them where they were just for, they've been doing certain positions all year long and they've learned things. And so we want to, as Coach said, we want to put these guys in positions to be successful, come game day. For me, I've only seen them a couple practices, right? And I've watched a little bit of film and things like that. But I try to come in just with a clean slate and open mind as I work with them, because the things that I'm teaching may be different from what they've learned. That doesn't make them right, doesn't make them wrong. But when they're hearing things that are different, it's going to take some time for them to adjust to it. And, and then, we'll start there. And then just as I said, we want to watch them continue to grow. I think there is some talent in the room. And I think that those guys there's a lot of youth in there. And so I'm excited to watch them grow. I'm excited to watch them learn. And, they're all great young men and they're all really, really hungry and eager to learn.
It sounds like he sees some things, but he's going to leave it alone until the off season. Because when he says, I could go in and teach, but they've been doing things a certain way all year long, and I'm just going to let them go ahead and do what they've been doing and play to the best of their capabilities, and then I'll worry about the other stuff when they have time to learn in the off season.
Yeah, these is 18, 19, 20-year-old kids to rewire a whole skill set that I'm sure Mike Brown wants to implement into the curriculum. I mean, look at the questionable receiver drills that we were doing in the fall camp. When that video made viral attention, it looked crazy. So if I'm Mike Brown, I'm looking at that video like, man, I ain't finna touch that yet. If that's how y'all gonna be doing it, hopping on one leg and run under, all these things and doing all these cones, cool. But I think it would be great for him to have a plan of execution on, seeing the best in what we have right now. So yeah, you're not trying to change what they're doing, but I would love to see if he can highlight some of the better qualities that each of our receivers have. I think Jordan Faison's best quality is he can get open in the slot uh, from a speed perspective. He also doesn't have to deal a lot with guys that have a lot of baggage at Notre Dame in the receiver room due to transfers. Now you got some of the guys that are older and been hurt, so I don't think couldn't have developed that bad of habits if you hurt, So
Right.
It's almost like a blank slate offensively, honestly. I mean, even Coach Rudolph in a position where you're replacing 2 first-round potential, one for sure, but 2 first-round potential tackles. You gotta coach after that. I'm sure there was some coaching with Joe Alt and Blake Fisher, but I mean, losing them, you really gotta coach. And so I think that the chickens are gonna have to come to roost for some of these coaches and players on the team. And I think Marcus Freeman needs to continue to be big on making those transitions if it's not working. So if Gino goes in there and he proves that he didn't develop after that year and not having to do much, then it shouldn't be something where we hanging on to guys forever. Because we know that guys that come in ready to leave at the drop of a dime.
Facts.
So we're not finna hang on to nobody till they get the job they want if they're not giving us the results that we looking for them to have. Quarterback included. So Riley Leonard, this is not no free ride to the NFL. You are expected to go undefeated and win a championship because other than that, what are you adding to a Notre Dame team that we don't already have from that room?
Yeah.
We got guys that can run around. We got guys that, in my opinion, will be more accurate. I think CJ would probably be the most accurate in the room outside of Kenny Minchie, who throws the best ball. So it's going to be interesting.
All right, here's a message just dropped a few minutes ago. Marcus Freeman, in response to Gerard Parker getting the head coaching job at Troy, he says, "Congratulations to Gerard as he takes on this great opportunity at Troy. I've had the chance to work closely with Gerard for a number of years. What stands out to me the most are his leadership skills and how tirelessly he works to get the job done and get the most out of his players. We wish Gerard and his family all the best on their new adventure." Marcus Freeman. That's a nice way to put on the public face, Coach Freeman. I like that. This is Coach Mike Brown talking about how he's going to grow the wide receiver.
We've began some game planning and things like that, and a lot of the plays that are run here are plays that I'm familiar with, and so I may not know the terminology. I've been fortunate to work with Coach Gino Gaduli for some time at Cincinnati, so sometimes he'll have to translate some things for me, but so I'll do a little bit of my input that way, and then just teaching things, the way that I know them. Obviously after running it through with Coach Parker and the rest of the staff, and so it's going to be a team effort. You talk about rotation, you talk about who's going to be where. I mean, they have a much better feel for the group right now than I do, and so I'm going to lean on that. I'm going to rely on that. I'm going to trust that, and then we'll just grow from there.
So he speaks to, once again, playbook standpoint, which changes now because on a Saturday he thought the playbook was going to be one thing, and now the playbook might be a totally different thing based upon how this offensive coordinator search goes. So everything it almost puts the staff not for the Sun Bowl, because everything remains the same for the Sun Bowl. We'll see who gets play calling duties in the Sun Bowl. But moving on from that, we'll see whether or not the Notre Dame players offensively will have to learn a brand new. But do you go get an offensive coordinator who's already doing similar things to what Riley Leonard does, or do you look at the hire in the big picture and focus more on how they can develop the other quarterbacks in the room? We might have lost left. What do you guys think? Let us know, LL Nation.
That last part, how they can do what?
No, I was saying with this hire of the OC, should they go get a guy that's able to make Riley Leonard comfortable because he does some of those things already, or do they go get a guy that's more big picture and aligns itself with the young quarterbacks?
I think Jared Parker leaving has just so much impact because you
Mm-hmm.
think about recruiting and what he's put in with Deuce Knight and Deuce Knight sticking with the team even through this transition and different things that have happened. But losing your OC, you lose a sense of direction for what you was excited for going to Notre Dame to do. I think CJ
Mm-hmm.
Carr is seeing the transition in the 2 years that he has. Luckily that we got him for the right reasons. He loves Notre Dame unconditionally. So he's going to make the most out of it. But some of these other quarterbacks out here, they're looking to be very directed. Hell, Carnell Tate was very directed. He told you right off the bat, hey, the receiver coach put dudes in the league. Dudes get better. Hard to say no to that, which is very understandable. He's a top receiver going into the class at that time. So that's a winning factor. When you lose your OC, it just turns into the inward focus of, okay, is Marcus Freeman looking to build the team from within, or he's looking to hire a bunch of guns outside to give the facade that the program is still at a point of consistency. Because if I'm Marcus Freeman right now, I'm selling consistency in the program that, even through all this transition, we can still be a 10-win team. But what's going to get us over the hump is finding the right stability on the offensive side of football, because that's what's going to come into play when it matters. And I think uh, the quarterbacks can rally around each other, but I think a lot of it depends on how we treat the Riley Leonard situation. We brought him in before the bowl game even happened. So right there, you got some questions to talk to your quarterbacks about in terms of what are y'all really trying to do? Is this a fair competition, or do I need to leave? Because if you bringing him in before the season's over, are you guaranteeing him he's going to be starting? And then you're on mute.
Whatever he got deposited into that account, guaranteed that he's
That's
starting.
what I'm saying.
That's it.
Look, if I'm Steve,
Heck
I'm
yeah, he's
pissed.
starting.
I'm pissed if I'm Steve. How you get $2 million? You do bare minimum at a school that we whooped up on. So if I'm Steve, I'm either demanding some money too to be a backup, or I gotta leave. I just think that it's just too many different directions you headed. If you getting a transfer board quarterback, you're committing to a championship, in my opinion. If you don't, you give yourself some time to build a consistent program with guys in-house.
Mm.
So if you don't cater that relationship the right way, if you're going with Riley Leonard, bring everything he needs to be successful, period. There's not even a doubt in my mind. I'm not bringing in a guy to just run a program. I'm like, no. Riley Leonard, what you like? This is what we've evaluated from your film, because we're great evaluators of talent. That's how we need to be. Because we're great evaluators of talent, our next OC is going to fit what you do well, period.
Mm.
If it's not that, then we're going to struggle. It's just what it is.
I can understand that. I can. Patrick Duffy, thank you for the super chat. What do you guys think about Dylan McCullough for OC? I'm not against it. I'm like left. Like, it's only so many times you can go in-house. Heck, Dylan McCullough could up and leave next year. I don't know. The right choice. Andy Ludwig at this point knows that he's not a head coach. That's the part with getting Andy Ludwig, you would have had that guy locked in as a coordinator. Very rare guys that are like OCs for that long. Very rare that they become head coaches. When you get these guys, first time hires, or haven't been calling plays for a long time, and then they have success at a place like Notre Dame, all of a sudden they become a hot commodity. I hate to go back to the Andy Ludwig situation, but hey, it is what it is, man. The dominoes are the dominoes, right? What are you going to say? But you guys agree. Big picture, most of you guys are saying get a guy that's big picture that can develop the young quarterbacks. And it is Dylan McCullough will probably call plays, or at least he would probably be over the running part of the offense for the Sun Bowl. And then Gino Guidugli would probably be over the passing part. So that's the way. Patrick Duffy, appreciate you. I had to reboot my computer. D Breezy had a super chat earlier saying Malik for OC. We appreciate you. Long time listener, D Breezy. And yeah. Left, great show, my brother. As always. Had to do this one on the fly with the breaking news. Thank you to LEVON WHITAKER, ABC 57 down in South Bend. We appreciate our big bro, or our little bro, shall I say. You know what time it is, Left.
Petticoat, Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petty Junction, Petty Story today brought to you by Nora Whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com. Premium American Whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com. Darnell Mooney, Kadarius Toney. It's a whole litany of wide receivers that we can put on the Petty train today. Kadarius Toney, my brother, Sky Moore. Look, man. Darnell Mooney for having the game in his stomach, literally, and finding a way to kick the ball out of his hands. I've never seen it before. Dude had the ball in his stomach and kicked it out of his hands.
Yeah, I think that was just sums up the Bears season this year, man. I mean, so close yet so far.
And then I'm gonna go ahead and put Jared Parker on the Petty train. Man, look, bro. I'm not mad, and I'm not gonna knock your hustle. But boy, these offensive coordinators and what they have put Marcus Freeman through the last 2 seasons is absolutely bananas. The Left, I'm going to do research to find out if there is a first-time hire that has gone through as much BS as Marcus Freeman has had to go through in his first 2 seasons. I'm sure there's someone out there that has. But I might have to search long and hard, man, because this is ridiculous, dude. It's like blow after blow after blow after blow. It's almost like I hope he's pulling a rope-a-dope. That's what I hope. I hope he's pulling a Muhammad Ali on George Foreman rope-a-dope. And at the end of the day, he's going to knock college football out, just like Muhammad Ali did to George Foreman. Because this is utter foolishness. Utter foolishness. You darn right I want the Bears to win. They get the dude. Them winning doesn't affect the number 1 pick. They got the number 1 pick locked up, like 81% right now. The Panthers are horrible, even though shout out the Panthers won yesterday. You darn right. I want to see improvement. I've seen improvement from the defense as soon as Montez Sweat got here. You darn right. You got young players. You need to see them improve and win games. And literally, they would have been 1 game out of the lead for the division if they won that game yesterday. Left. That's crazy. No, I take that back. It would have been 2 because the Lions won. But they would have been 1 game back of Minnesota for a wild card or something crazy.
Yeah, it's the last 3 weeks of the season. They always get real dicey.
Man, which would have been crazy. And they've blown at least 3 games in the 4th quarter. At least.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
But your record, you are who your record says you are.
I don't know if I agree with that, man. There's teams that got like 7 games they lost by less than 2 points, 3 points.
People are like, oh, man, the Bears are really a good team. They just know they're not a good team. They're not. They're not. They make bad mistakes every week. That's not a good team. When you make bad mistakes all the time, you're not good.
Yeah,
Sorry, you're not good. That's like a tackle getting beat with and making pre-snap penalties every week. And he's like, well, other than the pre-snap penalties, he's actually played okay. Like, no, that's kind of part of the job.
Yeah, it's part of the job.
Left, great show, man. We'll lock in tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be better news. And we're gonna try and get Cam McDaniels on because he's done his research on the reported new hire that may be coming for the strength and conditioning coach. He does very similar work to Cam McDaniel, and Cam is going to come on and break it down for us to see if this is a good hire for Notre Dame. For Left, I'm Shaun Davis. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Make sure you spin it there.